Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into the world of Polygon.
Right.
It's a project really focused on, well, supercharging the Ethereum network.
That's a good way to put it.
We've got a couple of key resources here.
Yeah.
The About Us page from Polygon itself, and a pretty helpful Investopedia article. What is Polygon? POL, you know the one?
Yeah, I've seen that. Covers the basics, strengths, weaknesses. Pretty comprehensive.
Exactly. So our mission today for everyone listening is to get a solid grip on Polygon. What it is, its history, and importantly, what this recent shift to the POL token actually means.
We're aiming for those aha moments, hopefully without getting too tangled up in the super technical weeds.
Right. So Polygon's core aim, just to start high level.
At its heart, it's about building a more, let's say, sovereign, secure, and open internet.
Okay.
Their method is creating these open source protocols. Think unified liquidity, making crypto assets work together better, unlimited scalability, and interoperability, all for builders on Ethereum. It's quite ambitious.
Definitely sounds ambitious. And like you mentioned, that token change from Matic to PAL, that happened, what, September 2024?
That's right. September 4th was the completion date.
And we need to figure out why that's more than just, a name swap.
Absolutely. It signals a pretty fundamental shift in their strategy and capabilities.
Okay, so let's lay the groundwork. What is Polygon, fundamentally?
Okay, let's dive in. So basically, Polygon functions as a layer 2 solution, specifically for the Ethereum virtual machine, the EVM.
Layer 2, like building on top of Ethereum.
Exactly. Think of Ethereum as this massive, busy city center. Polygon is building like expressways and bypasses around it to ease congestion.
Okay, that makes sense.
Its purpose, to let developers build all sorts of apps, and the Investopedia piece puts it nicely, to essentially build the value layer of the internet.
The value layer. Interesting phrase. So it's not out to replace Ethereum then?
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. It's designed specifically to connect Ethereum-based projects. It gives them more flexibility, much better scalability, so handling way more transactions and more sovereignty, like more control over their own chains.
But it still relies on Ethereum security.
That's the key. It retains Ethereum's robust security and its ability to, interact with everything else in the Ethereum ecosystem. It leverages that foundation.
So it's adding to Ethereum, enhancing it, not fighting it.
Precisely. Augmenting, not competing.
And the token that powers all this is now POL. Used to be Matic. What's its job currently?
POL, yeah. Both sources agree it's an ERC20 token.
Meaning it plays nice with other Ethereum stuff?
Exactly. Standard compatibility. Its main roles are governance, letting POL holders vote on the network's future.
Okay.
Security, through staking, which we can talk more about. And of course, paying for transaction fees on the network.
Got it. Governance, security, fees. Okay, solid foundation.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always called Polygon, was it? Let's rewind a bit. Its origin.
Correct. It actually started life as Matic Network back in 2017.
2017, okay.
Founded in Mumbai. 4 co-founders: Jamti Kanani, Sandeep Nailwal, Anurag Arjun, and Mihailo Bielik. Their About Us page mentions their, deep passion driving the project.
And things seemed to move pretty quickly after that.
They did, yeah. Matic Network had its IEO, the initial exchange offering, on Binance in April 2020, a way to raise funds.
Right.
Then, a really key moment, February 2021, they rebranded to Polygon.
And that wasn't just marketing.
No, it reflected a much bigger vision. They were expanding beyond just their initial focus, aiming for a whole suite of scaling and infrastructure solutions.
Okay, their timeline mentions quite a few milestones after that rebranding.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through some highlights?
Sure. So June 2020, that was the main year launch. It included proof of stake, the POS consensus, and also plasma chains, which were kind of an earlier scaling tech.
Right.
Then August 2021, another big one. They merged with Hermes Network. Hermes specialized in Zeek rollups.
Zeek rollups, that's the zero knowledge stuff, right?
Yeah.
More advanced scaling.
Exactly. Much more efficient. Then February 2022, they raised a lot of money. $450 million in a venture round. Big vote of confidence.
Wow, yeah.
April 2022, they committed to becoming carbon neutral, which is, increasingly important in this space.
Definitely. What else stands out from, say, late 2022, early 2023?
October 2022 was the zkEVM testnet launch. That's zero-knowledge Ethereum virtual machine. A huge step towards compatibility with Ethereum smart contracts while still scaling.
So making it easier for existing Ethereum apps to use Polygon.
Pretty much, yeah. And zkEVM rollups, just briefly, they bundled tons of transactions together off-chain and use these clever cryptographic proofs to verify them on Ethereum's main chain. faster, cheaper.
Gotcha.
Then, January 2023, they introduced Polygon Labs. That's the team actively building the protocol and also set up the Polygon Foundation.
The foundation does what exactly?
Supports the ecosystem, research development grants, education, that sort of thing, nurturing the community. And then, the most recent big one we already mentioned, September 4th, 2024. The Matic to POL token upgrade finalized. Both sources confirm that date.
Right. So quite the evolution from Matic Network to this, well, broader Polygon ecosystem. Let's dig into how it actually works a bit more. Proof of stake.
Yes. Polygon primarily uses proof of stake, PoS, for validation. Investopedia explains it well. Participants stake their POL tokens.
Meaning they lock them up.
Exactly, lock them in a smart contract. This gives them the chance to validate transactions. If they do it correctly, they earn rewards more POL.
And this is more efficient than Bitcoin's method, proof of work.
Oh, significantly more energy efficient, yeah. That's a major reason many chains, including Ethereum itself now, use POS.
And the whole reason Polygon was created was to fix Ethereum's growing pains.
Precisely. Both sources really hammer this home. Ethereum had, and sometimes still has, issues with high gas fees and slow transaction speeds, especially during busy times.
Yeah, I've felt that pain.
Polygon was built specifically to tackle those. As Investopedia highlights, it lets you deploy existing blockchains or custom ones.
Okay.
It enables communication between Ethereum and other blockchains, that's interoperability, and it helps other networks become Ethereum compatible.
So faster, cheaper, more connected. That seems to be the theme.
That's the core value proposition, yes.
Okay, but like any tech, there must be downsides, strengths and weaknesses. What are the big ones?
Let's start with the strengths. Speed is a huge one. Investopedia mentions figures like over 32 transactions per second.
Which is way faster than Ethereum's base layer typically.
Absolutely. And the cost. Transaction fees are consistently super low, usually less than a cent, according to Investopedia.
Wow, okay. That's a massive difference.
Huge. It makes using apps much more accessible. Plus, that interoperability and the potential for unlimited scaling alongside Ethereum are major pluses. It's designed to grow.
Seems pretty compelling. What about the weaknesses, the potential drawbacks?
Well, the big one is its dependence on Ethereum. It is a layer 2.
Meaning if something happens to Ethereum.
Exactly. If Ethereum had major problems or hypothetically ceased to exist, Polygon would be significantly impacted. Its security is derived from Ethereum.
Right, it's tied to it. What else?
Investopedia also notes that the POL token itself has somewhat limited uses beyond the network functions, governance, staking, fees. You're not typically using it to, buy coffee.
Okay, so not really aiming to be everyday digital cash.
Not its primary design. And finally, just the fact that it's still evolving, like the whole blockchain space, really. It's not a fully finished product. Development is ongoing.
That makes sense. It's still relatively young technology. Okay, we've touched on this, but let's nail it down. Polygon versus Ethereum, they're not competitors.
Absolutely not. Both our sources are really clear on this. Polygon is designed to complement Ethereum.
Help it out.
Yeah. Investopedia calls it a side chain running parallel to Ethereum, and it uses tech like those ZK proofs we mentioned to boost Ethereum's capabilities. Think of it as a partner helping Ethereum scale up.
A crucial partner, maybe.
Arguably, yes, especially for handling high transaction volumes efficiently.
And they both use the same basic mechanism now, proof of stake.
Correct. Both Ethereum, since the merge, and Polygon use PoS, so they share that efficiency and lower transaction cost approach.
Okay, good. So Polygon enhancing Ethereum. Got it. Now, looking ahead, what's the big picture for Polygon, their long-term goals, and how does this POL token fit in?
They have this grand vision for Web3, this idea of a more decentralized internet where users control their data, their value.
The value layer idea again.
Exactly. And to push this, they launched Polygon Village 2.0 back in November 2023.
Polygon Village.
Yeah, it's an initiative to support builders, grants, accelerators, mentorship, just general support for startups building Web3 apps on Polygon.
So they're actively growing their own garden, so to speak.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Fostering the ecosystem that uses their tech. And the POL token upgrade is absolutely central to this future vision.
Okay, why was that upgrade so critical? What does it unlock?
It's pivotal because it allows Polygon to function as an ecosystem for multiple layer 2 chains. Not just one scaling solution, but a platform hosting many different ones.
Ah, so like a hub for various scaling approaches.
Exactly. Imagine different chains optimized for gaming, or DeFi, all interconnected within the Polygon ecosystem, secured by POL. Investopedia also mentions more programming languages become available for developers.
More flexibility.
Right. And bridging moving assets between Ethereum and Polygon becomes more efficient, smoother on-ramps and off-ramps.
Okay, that makes sense. And Investopedia mentions something about a new staking layer. What's that about for POL holders?
That's really interesting. This new layer potentially lets POL stakers earn rewards, like fees, from activity across all these different chains within the Polygon network.
Okay, so instead of just earning from validating one chain, you could earn from the activity across the whole interconnected system.
That seems to be the idea. It broadens the utility and potential rewards for staking POL, tying its value more closely to the success of the entire ecosystem, not just one part of it.
And that switch was fully done September 4th, 2024.
Confirmed. Done deal.
So way more than just a ticker change. It's a fundamental redesign.
Absolutely. Sets the stage for their next chapter.
Okay, to make this really current, let's look at some recent activity. Their About Us page has that in the news section. Anything jump out?
Yeah, looking through those, even if some are from a bit earlier in 2025, they show the momentum, like Reddit using Polygon PoS for their crypto avatar.
Right, I remember that. Big mainstream adoption example.
Huge. And Stripe enabling crypto payments via Polygon PoS, another major player integrating their tech for payments.
That's significant validation. What else?
There's ongoing stuff like DeFi incentive programs on PoS, trying to boost activity there. Lots of development around AggLayer.
AggLayer, what's that?
It's their protocol focused on unifying liquidity across chains, making it seamless to interact with assets on different Polygon chains or even Ethereum. They mention things like pessimistic proofs related to that.
So working on that interconnected vision.
That's exactly. Also to Community Grant Season 2, allocating 35 million POL. That's a lot of funding going back into the ecosystem.
Shows commitment to developers.
Definitely. And they're still pushing the tech boundaries. Polygon Plonky 3 mentioned as a fast ZK proving system, the Polygon Miden Alpha testnet.
So more advancements in that zero-knowledge tech.
Yep, continuous R&D, plus ongoing discussions about AggLayer evolution, aggregated chains, and community governance. It all points towards more capability and more decentralization over time.
Clearly a lot happening. It's definitely not a static project.
Yeah.
So let's try to boil this down. As we wrap up this deep dive, what are the absolute key things someone should take away?
Okay, core takeaways. Polygon is a vital Layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum. Its main job is boosting speed and slashing costs.
Right, faster and cheaper.
Crucially, remember, it complements Ethereum, it doesn't compete with it, it builds on Ethereum's security.
Enhancer, not replacement.
Exactly. And that recent switch from Matic to Pello is a really big deal. It transforms Polygon into potentially a whole ecosystem of interconnected Layer 2 chains.
Opening up new possibilities for Web3.
Precisely. For developers building things and for pillow holders participating in securing and governing that broader network.
Okay. Well, hopefully for everyone tuning in, this has given you a much clearer picture of Polygon, its journey, and why this PL upgrade matters without getting totally lost in the jargon.
Yeah, it's complex stuff, but understanding these foundational layers is pretty key to grasping where the internet might be heading.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe a final thought to leave people with.
Consider this. Polygon aims to build this value layer of the internet, right? And the POL upgrade enables this multi-chain future.
Yeah.
So what kind of new applications, new user experiences does that actually make possible? What does that mean for how you might use the internet or own digital things down the road?
Good question.
It's evolving super fast. Understanding projects like Polygon helps you see that bigger picture, the potential shifts happening right under our noses. It's definitely a space to watch.